Everyone remembers the strongest alpha in the room, but nobody remembers the beta doctor who quietly saved them all. Noah Bennett learned that lesson long before anyone knew his name. At 29 years old, he was already a skilled doctor at one of the most respected medical centers in the country, yet most people walked past him without a second glance. In a world where alpha status opened doors and omega connections created attention, being a beta often meant being invisible. Noah wore his white medical coat every day, carried his patient files with care, and continued doing the work he loved even when others treated him like he was replaceable. He never expected praise. He never searched for recognition. He only wanted to help people. But sometimes, being ignored was the very thing that allowed someone to see the truth. The morning everything changed began like any other day at the hospital. The hallways were filled with doctors rushing between appointments, nurses organizing schedules, and patients waiting for answers. Noah moved quietly through the crowd, reviewing medical information on his tablet while preparing for his next consultation. Then the atmosphere changed. Conversations became softer. People looked toward the entrance. The reason was simple. Adrian Whitmore had arrived, the strongest alpha in the medical world. The name alone carried influence. Adrian was the head of Whitmore Medical Group, a man known for his intelligence, discipline, and unmatched reputation. Many doctors wanted his attention. Many people wanted his approval. But when Adrian entered the hospital, he did not look toward the people trying to impress him. He looked toward Noah Bennett. Noah did not notice at first. He was focused on a patient report, carefully explaining treatment options with patience and kindness. Unlike everyone else around him, Noah did not see Adrian as a powerful alpha. He simply saw another person who needed help. When Adrian finally approached him, Noah looked up calmly. "How can I help you?" he asked. The question was simple, but it surprised everyone nearby. No nervous reaction, no attempt to gain favor, just professionalism. Adrian studied him. For a moment, most people changed the way they spoke when they stood in front of him. Noah did not. "You are Dr. Bennett?" Adrian asked. Noah nodded. "Yes. I heard you handled a difficult case last month." Noah looked slightly confused. "I was only doing my job." Those words stayed in Adrian's mind. A person who had achieved everything in life had become used to people wanting something from him. Respect, power, opportunity. But this beta doctor wanted nothing. He only wanted to do what was right. That was the first moment Adrian realized Noah Bennett was different. Noah still believed he was invisible. He believed being a beta meant standing behind everyone else. He did not know that the strongest alpha in the world had already noticed him. And soon, the entire world would learn the name of the doctor they once ignored. The day after Adrian Whitmore noticed Noah Bennett at the hospital, nothing seemed different on the surface. The same doctors walked through the same halls. The same patients waited for answers. The same conversations filled the busy rooms of the medical center. But for Noah, something had changed. For the first time in years, someone with influence had looked at his work instead of his status. Noah tried not to think about it too much. He had spent his entire career learning not to expect attention. In the world around him, being a beta doctor often meant being overlooked. People assumed he lacked ambition because he did not compete for power. They mistook his quiet nature for weakness. But Noah knew who he was. He knew the hours he spent studying. He knew the effort behind every patient he treated. Still, being seen by someone like Adrian Whitmore felt unusual. Adrian, meanwhile, found himself thinking about the beta doctor more often than expected. He had met countless professionals throughout his career. Many were talented. Many were confident. Many wanted to be noticed. But Noah was different. Noah never changed his attitude depending on who stood in front of him. He treated everyone with the same patience and respect. That quality stayed in Adrian's mind. A few days later, Adrian requested Noah's assistance with a medical review at Whitmore Medical Group. The request surprised everyone. Several experienced doctors expected to be chosen, but Adrian specifically asked for Noah. When Noah entered the meeting room, he immediately felt the attention around him. Some people looked curious. Others looked doubtful. They wondered why a beta doctor had been invited into such an important discussion. Noah calmly opened his files and focused on the information in front of him. He did not let their opinions affect him. During the meeting, several specialists discussed a complicated medical case. Noah listened carefully before offering his perspective. "I think there is another possibility we should consider," he said. The room became quiet. One doctor looked surprised. You believe the current approach is incomplete? Noah nodded. I believe we should look at every detail before making a decision. His explanation was clear and thoughtful. He did not try to prove anyone wrong. He simply shared what he knew. Adrian watched silently from across the room. He noticed something others missed. Noah was not trying to become important. He was already valuable. After the meeting, Adrian stopped him in the hallway. Why do you always speak so calmly when people doubt you? Adrian asked. Noah paused before answering. Because my work matters more than their opinions. For a moment, Adrian had no response. Those words were simple, but they revealed something rare. Noah did not measure his worth by attention or status. He carried a confidence that did not need to be announced. As Noah walked away, Adrian realized something unexpected. The beta doctor everyone ignored was the first person in a long time who made him curious. Not because of power, not because of reputation, but because Noah Bennett was completely different from everyone Adrian had ever known. Noah Bennett never expected a single meeting to change the way people looked at him. But after working with Adrian Whitmore, the atmosphere around him slowly began to shift. The difference was not obvious at first. No one suddenly treated him like a celebrity. No one stopped questioning his position as a beta doctor. But small things started to change. People began asking for his opinion. Younger doctors listened when he explained medical details. Colleagues who once walked past him without noticing started recognizing his dedication. Noah remained the same person, but for the first time, others were beginning to see what had always been there. Adrian noticed this change as well. He noticed how Noah never took credit away from others. He noticed how Noah stayed late to make sure every patient received proper care. He noticed how the beta doctor who everyone considered ordinary had a level of commitment that many powerful people lacked. One afternoon, Adrian invited Noah to review a new medical development project at Whitmore Medical Group. The project involved advanced patient care research, and several senior doctors were already involved. Noah expected to be there only as a supporting member, someone who organized information behind the scenes. That was how things usually worked for him. But when the discussion began, Adrian asked directly, Dr. Bennett, what is your opinion? The room became quiet. Noah looked around, surprised that everyone was waiting for his answer. In the past, moments like this would have made him hesitate. He would have wondered if his thoughts were important enough to share. But now, he simply trusted his knowledge. I think we should focus on the patient experience first, Noah said. The data matters, but understanding the person behind the numbers matters too. Some people looked uncertain, but Adrian listened carefully. Noah continued explaining his perspective, combining medical knowledge with compassion. He did not speak to impress anyone. He spoke because he believed it was the right thing to do. After the meeting ended, Adrian remained behind. You always think about people before results, Adrian said. Noah smiled slightly. Is that a problem? No, Adrian answered. It is rare. Noah looked at him, noticing something different in Adrian's expression. The strongest alpha in the medical world was someone who had access to endless resources, endless opportunities, and countless people trying to gain his attention. Yet somehow, he seemed most interested in a beta doctor who never asked for anything. Later that week, Noah faced a familiar situation. A proposal he had created was presented during a department review, but his name was barely mentioned. Years ago, this would have hurt deeply. He remembered feeling invisible, wondering if his work would ever matter. But this time, before Noah could say anything, Adrian spoke. That idea came from Dr. Bennett, Adrian said calmly. The room went silent. Noah looked at him, surprised. Adrian continued. His research and analysis are the reason this proposal has potential. For the first time, someone with real influence recognized Noah's contribution in front of everyone. It was not because Noah demanded attention. It was because Adrian believed he deserved it. That moment changed something inside Noah. He realized he did not need to become louder to be valued. He only needed someone willing to truly see him. And Adrian Whitmore was beginning to see him more clearly than anyone else ever had. The morning after Adrian Whitmore publicly recognized Noah Bennett's contribution, the entire atmosphere at Whitmore Medical Group felt different. Noah walked through the same hallways, past the same offices, and continued his work as he always had, but something had changed. People no longer looked through him. They noticed him. Some greeted him by name. Others asked for his thoughts before making decisions. For years, Noah had believed that being a beta meant he would always stand behind others, no matter how hard he worked. But now he was slowly learning that respect could be earned through dedication, not status. Adrian noticed every small change. He saw how Noah handled the new attention with humility instead of pride. He saw how Noah continued helping others even after receiving recognition himself. That was what made Adrian more curious. Many people wanted power because of what it could give them. Noah wanted success because of what it could do for others. 1 week later, Adrian announced a major decision during a medical leadership meeting. The hospital was preparing a new patient care initiative, and several highly experienced doctors expected to lead the project. When Adrian revealed his choice, everyone in the room became silent. Dr. Noah Bennett will be the medical lead for this initiative, Adrian said. Noah looked at him in surprise. He had expected to assist, not lead. Around the room, several people exchanged uncertain looks. A beta doctor leading such an important project was something they never imagined. One senior doctor carefully questioned the decision. "Are you certain this is the best choice?" Adrian looked calm. "Yes, because Dr. Bennett has already proven his ability." Noah listened quietly. He knew this moment was important, but he also knew he could not let doubt control him. He accepted the responsibility and promised himself he would give everything he had. As the project began, Noah faced challenges that tested his confidence. Some people still questioned him because of his beta status. They focused on what they thought he lacked instead of seeing what he offered. But Noah responded the only way he knew how. He worked harder. He listened carefully. He treated every person with respect. Slowly, even those who doubted him began to recognize his leadership. Adrian watched from a distance, feeling something he had never expected. He had spent years making decisions based on logic, efficiency, and results. But Noah reminded him that people were not just numbers on a report. They were stories, emotions, and lives that mattered. One evening, after a long day at the hospital, Adrian found Noah reviewing project notes alone. "You should rest," Adrian said. Noah smiled. "You say that often." "Because you do not listen." Noah laughed softly. It was a simple moment, but Adrian realized he had started looking forward to these conversations. The strongest alpha in the business world had always believed control was the key to success. Yet the person changing his perspective was the beta doctor everyone once ignored. Noah still did not realize how much his presence had affected Adrian. He only knew that for the first time in his life, someone powerful was not looking down at him. Someone was standing beside him. And soon, that choice would change everything. The new patient care initiative quickly became the most talked about project at Whitmore Medical Group. For Noah Bennett, it was an opportunity he never thought he would receive. For years, he had worked quietly in the background, watching others receive opportunities while his own efforts remained unnoticed. Now, he was finally given the chance to lead. But Noah knew that being chosen was only the beginning. Respect was not something he could simply receive. It was something he had to continue earning every day. From the moment the project started, Noah focused on one thing: making sure every decision helped the people the hospital served. He reviewed reports, listened to medical staff, and created a system that allowed different departments to communicate more effectively. Some people were surprised by his approach. They expected a beta doctor to struggle under pressure, but Noah remained calm. He did not lead with authority. He led with understanding. Adrian Whitmore watched everything carefully. The strongest alpha in the medical world had worked with countless talented people, but Noah continued to surprise him. Noah never tried to appear impressive. He simply cared about doing what was right. One afternoon, Adrian entered Noah's office and found him reviewing patient feedback from the project. "You are still working?" Adrian asked. Noah looked up and smiled. "There are always things that can be improved." Adrian looked at the reports on the desk. Most people would celebrate after receiving this kind of recognition. Noah shook his head. "Recognition is nice, but the results matter more." Adrian remained silent for a moment. Those words reminded him why Noah was different. Noah did not chase approval. He chased improvement. However, while the project was becoming successful, Noah discovered something unusual in the research data. There was a pattern in certain patient responses that did not match the existing medical understanding of ABO classifications. As a doctor, Noah became curious. He began reviewing older research documents and found references to a rare beta condition that had not been studied deeply. The information was incomplete, but it suggested that some beta individuals might have abilities that the medical world had overlooked for years. Noah stared at the documents. realizing that the reason people underestimated him might have nothing to do with weakness. They simply did not understand him. When Adrian learned about the discovery, he immediately supported Noah's research. "You think there is something important here," Adrian said. Noah nodded. "I think there are people who have been ignored because nobody looked closely enough." Adrian looked at him with a thoughtful expression. Those words were not only about medical research. They reflected Noah's entire life. The world had ignored him because they only saw the label attached to him. They never looked deeper. Later that evening, Noah and Adrian walked through the quiet hospital hallway after a long day. "Do you ever get tired of proving yourself?" Adrian asked. Noah thought for a moment. "I used to. And now?" Noah looked ahead. "Now I know my value does not depend on whether someone else recognizes it." Adrian smiled slightly. For someone who had always believed strength came from status and influence, Noah had shown him a different kind of strength. But neither of them realized that this discovery would soon attract attention from people who wanted to control what Noah had uncovered. The beta doctor everyone ignored was finally being noticed. And not everyone was happy about it. The discovery Noah Bennett made changed the direction of the research project. What began as a simple medical observation had become something much bigger. For the first time, Noah found evidence that the world's understanding of beta individuals might be incomplete. The same society that had spent years overlooking him might have been wrong all along. But with new attention came new challenges. As the research gained interest, more people began asking questions. Some were genuinely curious. Others were interested for reasons Noah could not understand. Noah had spent his entire career being ignored, and now he had to adjust to being noticed. Adrian Whitmore noticed the change immediately. He saw how carefully Noah reviewed every conversation, how he considered every possibility before trusting anyone. "You are expecting people to doubt you," Adrian said one evening while they reviewed the research findings together. Noah looked at the documents in front of him. "I am expecting people to misunderstand what they do not know." Adrian was quiet. He understood that feeling more than anyone. Being powerful had always made people see him differently. They saw his title before they saw him as a person. Noah experienced the opposite. People saw his beta status before they saw his talent. In different ways, both of them had spent years being judged by labels. The next day, a medical review committee requested a detailed presentation about Noah's findings. The meeting included some of the most respected doctors in the field. Noah entered the room knowing that many people would question his conclusions. But this time, he was not alone. Adrian was there beside him. During the presentation, Noah explained the research carefully. He did not exaggerate. He did not try to make himself seem special. He simply presented the facts. The problem was never that beta individuals lacked value, Noah explained. The problem was that people stopped looking deeper. The room became silent. His words carried more meaning than just medical information. They represented years of being underestimated. After the presentation, several doctors began reconsidering their opinions. But not everyone accepted the change easily. Some people who had ignored Noah before now wanted access to his research. They saw an opportunity, but did not understand the responsibility behind it. Noah felt the same uncertainty he had experienced in his previous struggles. The difference was that this time, he had learned not to face everything alone. Adrian stood beside him. "You do not have to prove your existence to people who refuse to see you before," Adrian said. Noah looked at him. "Then why do you believe in me?" Adrian answered without hesitation. "Because I saw what everyone else missed." Those words stayed with Noah. For years, he had wondered if he would ever be recognized. Now he understood that the right person noticing him mattered more than everyone else ignoring him. Later that evening, Noah reviewed the latest research updates. The evidence continued to reveal something unexpected about beta biology. There was still much to learn, but one thing was becoming clear. Noah was not someone who needed to become stronger to deserve respect. He already had strength. It was simply a strength the world had failed to recognize. And as Adrian watched Noah continue forward, he realized something important too. The person everyone once dismissed was becoming the person he trusted most. The beta doctor who had spent years standing in the background was finally stepping into the place he always deserved. The days following the medical review meeting changed everything for Noah Bennett. For the first time, his work was no longer hidden behind someone else's name. His research was being discussed by experts across the medical community, and people who once ignored him were now paying attention. But Noah did not let the attention change who he was. Every morning, he still arrived early at Whitmore Medical Group. He still checked on patients. He still listened carefully to every concern. The only difference was that now, people were finally beginning to understand his value. Adrian Whitmore noticed that Noah handled recognition differently from anyone he had ever met. Many people became more confident when they gained influence. Noah became more determined to use it responsibly. That was one of the reasons Adrian respected him so deeply. One afternoon, Adrian and Noah reviewed the latest results from the beta research project. The information revealed more questions than answers, but it also confirmed something important. The medical world had misunderstood beta individuals for generations. Their value had never been measured correctly. You realize this could change how people see an entire group of people, Adrian said. Noah looked at the research notes. That is exactly why we have to be careful. Adrian looked at him with curiosity. Most people would focus on the opportunity. Noah shook his head. An opportunity means nothing if it does not help anyone. Those words reminded Adrian why Noah was different. Noah did not want power. He wanted progress. He did not want attention. He wanted understanding. As the project continued, Noah faced another difficult moment. Some members of the medical community questioned whether a beta doctor should be leading such an important discovery. They focused on his classification instead of his experience. Years ago, those comments would have made Noah question himself. But now, he stood calmly and answered with confidence. My status does not determine my ability to care for people, Noah said. My actions do. Adrian listened from across the room, feeling a sense of admiration he could no longer ignore. For most of his life, Adrian had been surrounded by people who wanted something from him. They respected his position, his influence, and his power. Noah was the first person who respected him without caring about any of those things. That realization changed something inside Adrian. Later that evening, Adrian found Noah outside the hospital after another long day. The city lights reflected across the streets, creating a peaceful moment away from the pressure of their responsibilities. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if people noticed you sooner? Adrian asked. Noah thought about the question. He remembered years of being overlooked. He remembered moments when he wondered if his efforts mattered. Then he smiled. Maybe I would have become a different person. Adrian looked at him. Would that have been better? Noah shook his head. I do not know, but I know I like who I am now. For the first time, Adrian saw complete confidence in Noah. Not the confidence that came from status or success, but the confidence of someone who finally accepted himself. And that was the moment Adrian understood something important. Noah Bennett was not someone he wanted to protect because others saw him as weak. Noah was someone he respected because he was stronger than most people ever realized. The beta doctor everyone underestimated had become the person who changed the way Adrian saw the world. The relationship between Noah Bennett and Adrian Whitmore had changed in ways neither of them expected. What started as a professional connection had slowly become a bond built on trust, respect, and understanding. Noah still remembered the days when people barely noticed him. He remembered walking through hospital halls while others received praise for work he quietly contributed to. But now, he no longer measured his worth by how many people recognized him. He had learned that his value existed long before anyone decided to acknowledge it. Adrian was the person who helped him understand that. At Whitmore Medical Group, the beta research project continued to gain attention. More doctors began studying Noah's findings, and more patients benefited from the improvements he introduced. But despite the success, Noah remained focused on the reason he started. He wanted a medical system where people were seen for who they were, not the category assigned to them. One evening, Adrian invited Noah to his office to discuss the future of the project. The city lights reflected through the large windows, creating a quiet atmosphere unlike the usual busy hospital environment. You changed the way people think, Adrian said. Noah looked surprised. I only shared what I discovered. Adrian shook his head. No, you changed something bigger than research. You changed how people see others. Noah looked down, unsure how to respond. He had never imagined that someone like Adrian would say those words to him. The strongest alpha in the medical world was someone everyone respected, but he was also someone who had spent years carrying expectations from others. Noah realized they were more similar than he first thought. They were both judged before people understood them. Adrian was seen only as a powerful alpha. Noah was seen only as a beta. Neither label showed the complete truth. Do you ever get tired of being what everyone expects you to be? Noah asked. Adrian was silent for a moment. Sometimes. His answer was honest. But I never thought I had another choice. Noah smiled softly. Maybe you do now. Those words stayed with Adrian. Noah had never tried to change him. He had never asked him to become someone else. He simply reminded him that strength did not mean carrying everything alone. As the weeks passed, Adrian became more open. He began trusting his team more. He started listening. Instead of always deciding alone, people around him noticed the difference. The strongest alpha was changing, and the reason was the beta doctor everyone once overlooked. Meanwhile, Noah also changed. He no longer apologized for taking space. He no longer lowered his voice when sharing his ideas. He finally understood that confidence was not about proving others wrong. It was about accepting himself. One night, after finishing another successful project review, Adrian and Noah walked through the hospital hallway together. The building was quiet, but the moment felt important. When I first met you, I thought you were different because you were not impressed by me, Adrian said. Noah smiled. And now? Adrian looked at him. Now I know you are different because you see people clearly. Noah felt the meaning behind those words. For years, he wanted the world to notice him. But now he understood something greater. Being seen by everyone was not the same as being truly understood by someone. And Adrian Whitmore was the first person who truly understood him. The beta doctor who had once been ignored was no longer standing in the background. He was standing beside the person who chose to see him from the beginning. The final chapter of Noah Bennett's journey began with a feeling he once thought he would never experience. Peace. For years, Noah believed he had to fight to prove that he belonged. He believed being a beta meant he would always have to work harder than everyone else just to be noticed. But standing inside Whitmore Medical Group, surrounded by people who now respected his work, he finally understood something important. His value had never been determined by how others saw him. It had always been there. The world simply needed time to recognize it. The Beta Research Project became one of the most important developments in modern medicine. Doctors from different backgrounds studied Noah's findings, and the changes created new opportunities for countless people. But Noah never allowed success to make him forget where he started. He remembered the days when his ideas were ignored. He remembered the moments when he questioned himself. Those memories did not make him bitter. They reminded him why he chose to help others. Adrian Whitmore watched Noah receive recognition that he deserved. The strongest alpha in the medical world had spent years surrounded by achievements, but he had never felt as proud as he did watching Noah succeed. Adrian finally understood that strength was not about being the person everyone feared or admired. Strength was about having the courage to be honest, kind, and genuine. One evening, Adrian and Noah returned to the hospital where everything began. The familiar halls looked the same, but they were no longer the place where Noah felt invisible. They were the place where he discovered his own worth. Do you remember when we first met? Adrian asked. Noah smiled. You mean when everyone noticed you and nobody noticed me? Adrian smiled softly. I remember noticing you. Noah looked at him. Those words still carried meaning. At a time when the entire world looked past him, Adrian had seen something others missed. Not a beta, not a doctor without status. Just Noah. I spent so much time trying to prove I mattered, Noah said quietly. But I think I was looking for answers from people who were never willing to see me. Adrian nodded. And now? Noah looked around the hospital. He thought about everything that had changed. His career, his confidence, his relationships. Most importantly, the way he saw himself. Now I know I was never invisible. Adrian smiled. You never were. Together, they continued walking through the hospital that had witnessed their entire journey. A place where a forgotten beta doctor once stood in the background had become the place where he found his voice. A place where the strongest alpha discovered that the greatest connection in his life came from someone he never expected. Noah Bennett did not become important because an alpha chose him. Adrian Whitmore did not become better because he found someone to follow. They changed because they learned from each other. One taught the other that kindness was a form of strength. The other showed that being valued by the right person could change everything. In the end, Noah was no longer the doctor everyone overlooked. He was the doctor who inspired change. Adrian was no longer the alpha who stood above everyone. He was the person who finally learned how to stand beside someone. And together, they created a future where no one would be defined only by a label, but by the person they truly were.